Hello everyone. Today's video will focus on my knitting and crochet projects. I have 5 projects that have been weighing on me. I haven't done much knitting and crochet over the past several years, but I want to get back into it. And these are some projects that have been sitting around, some not so long, some for a while. So I'm going to start from the most recent one and move backward. And I'll try to put links to everything in the show notes at the bottom. To start with, I have a pair of convertible mittens for my daughter. This is all I have done so far. I started this project maybe a few months ago. They're done in black Red Heart Super Saver. And yes, I'm using a bobby pin as a stitch marker because I'm cheap. And these are crocheted on an F hook. It's supposed to be the type where it's fingerless, but you have the individual holes, and then you have a flap that goes over the top to keep the hands warm. Because right now she's going to school in a climate that has a slightly colder winter than what we have here, so she wanted those gloves. Hopefully they will work up quickly because I'm already up to the thumb hole on the first glove, and it's a pretty easy project. I get distracted. I've been getting distracted by the internet so much that I don't do projects, but I'm trying to rectify that. The next project is also for Chloe. Chloe and her sister Sydney both wanted the Avatar 4 Elements Afghan. Now, Sydney knows how to crochet herself, so I haven't really started on hers. So I was going to start on Chloe's and maybe get to Sydney's if Sydney didn't crochet it herself. But I've had a couple false starts with this project. First, I started the project as it's written, crochet, and this is how far I've gotten. This is the first square. It's kind of long. It's kind of wide. Ooh. It's kind of wide, as you can see. So it's supposed to be 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'll make a pretty wide blanket to snuggle up in. But I'm at the bottom of the water motif and I just got bored. Can't take it. Put it down for a few months. And then I thought, well, maybe if I knit the square and then duplicate stitch the emblem, logo, whatever, on it, that might be more fun. That might go more quickly. I did a SpongeBob SquarePants baby blanket years ago, and I remember really enjoying doing the duplicate stitch part of it. So I thought, well, maybe I'll do that. But I got about this far, as you can see, barely 2 inches in making the square, still kind of wide, in making the square, and said, ugh, this is taking forever. I can't stand it. So I put that down for a couple months. But it's always been in the back of my mind that I want to get this Afghan done. I want to get this Afghan done before the child graduates with her bachelor's degree. So started it her freshman year, and she's halfway through her sophomore year. So I was watching a creative stream on Twitch, and I saw a couple pillows in the background that the girl had made, and the stitch looked, one of them had, like, I think Princess Peach on it, and one of them had another video game character on it, and I thought, those look interesting. What kind of stitch did she use? And so I asked her, and she said that she had done corner to corner crochet. And I'm like, oh, never heard of that. That sounds interesting. But I also remember knitting corner to corner baby blankets, and those felt like they went fast. So I thought, well, maybe this will be something to try. So third time's the shot. I'm going to do this corner to corner, except I'm not going to do it in squares. I found another chart, which I'm also going to try to link at the bottom, where a girl had drawn up a chart and used the basic instructions from Red Heart's website on how to do a corner to corner Afghan. And so it's done in all one big square or rectangle instead of 4 separate squares like what I was going to do. So it's still going to be Red Heart Super Saver, my yarn of choice, because I'm on a budget. So hopefully I'll get started on that this week. Okay, the next thing I have is this grocery bag. That is my bag of yarn scraps, of sock yarn scraps. I went through a period when I first got back into knitting somewhere around 1999. Back then, none of the stores here sold sock yarn. And I was interested in making socks. And that was also when I started discovered the communities of knitters on the internet. And so I got into a few swaps and grab bag swaps, which basically means you're getting everybody's cast off oddballs. So I don't do those anymore. But at the time, it was really interesting because I got to feel what wool felt like. I got to feel what cotton felt like. I got to feel different kinds of yarns and different weights and stuff, because here where I lived at the time, all you could get was Red Heart Super Saver worsted weight. That was it. That's probably why I still use so much of it, because it's still the easiest to get without driving an hour away. So I have lots of sock yarn. This is just some of it. None of it matches. None of it is enough to make a pair of socks, as you can see. So I'm thinking that I will start making a sock yarn blanket or a sock yarn hat. Just one of those scrap things that I read about on Ravelry. You know, the sock yarn blanket in particular appeals to me because it's just a bunch of different squares that you put together, which leads to, even though I'm going a little out of order, which leads to this. This is the Rambling Rose Afghan from Cottage Creations. It was another thing that was really popular, making the rounds when I first found the knitting community online. So I started the Rambling Rose Afghan around 2001. It's also made from Red Heart Super Saver. And I keep saying I'm going to pull it apart. And I have pulled several squares off of it, but I still can't bring myself to finish pulling it apart. And I look at it and go, well, maybe I'm going to knit some more on this. Maybe I'll finish it. And just as recently as this week, I was thinking maybe I should just pull it all apart and start over with different colors. Because when I started this, I named it the Gaudy Afghan. Because, I mean, really, these colors, they don't go together. And they make you think of a clown car. But I can't bring myself to pull it apart. So I need to do something with it. Either pull it apart, start another Afghan, something. And the last thing that's weighing on my mind is this. This is a sock loom, a loops and threads sock loom that came from Michael's. My husband bought it for me for Christmas one year. We're not real good at buying each other Christmas gifts. neither one of us, even after being married 25 years, we don't know what to get each other. Mainly because for me, the things I usually want are way too expensive, you know. And for my husband, usually the things that he wants, he buys what he wants when he sees it. So it's hard to get him something that he hasn't already bought for himself. So we're not good at getting gifts for each other. So this was one of those times where we were shopping for everybody else and we're walking through Michael's and I'm like, oh, that sock loom is interesting. I've always wanted to try one of those. And so he said, go ahead and buy it. It's your Christmas gift. So, okay, fine. Bought it. It's still been sitting here for 2 years, along with, I think that same year, my bag of sock yarn. I bought enough sock yarn, I'm pretty sure that same year, to make a pair of socks for daughter number 1, daughter number 2, and daughter number 3. If I remember correctly, I either gave them the yarn because they were all learning to knit at the time, or I said that I would knit the socks for them. Either way, I still have the yarn, and they're all 2 hours away. So I guess I'm the one who's going to be knitting the socks. And since I have the sock loom, which has not made it out of the bag in 2 years, then I think I need to get on those socks. Anyway, that's the knitting and crochet that's weighing on me right now. All of these projects will probably end up in the bullet journal that I'm trying to start so that I can get at least one of them done by the end of the year, even if it's just frogging the Ugly Rambling Rose Afghan. But thank you if you've listened to this video this long. Thank you for listening. If you're one of the girls who belongs to me, I will try to get your projects finished as soon as possible, because I know there's some other projects that I haven't even mentioned today because I haven't started them. It's not that I forgot about your scarf, Maya, or whatever it was I said I was going to make for you, Sydney, but this is what's been weighing on my mind because it's already started. So, talk to you later. Bye.